I'm excited. I think this is going to be really nice. New experience.
This project was one of the most meaningful ones.
This project has been a dream come true.
Not only I got to perform with my duo partner, which is always a special experience, but we performed our piece from which the duo was born. When Ksenija arranged this piece, at this point we have performed it closer to 20 times, I would say.
I've seen The Rite of Spring so many times. I've seen it in Miami with the Martha Graham Dance Company, and in Hong Kong with the Hong Kong Ballet, and all over the world. And it was so special that this time we actually got to be level with the dancers, right there with them, sharing the stage, and create this together.
It's day one of dress rehearsals. Vesna Duo will perform staged version of The Rite of Spring with Britt Gonzalez as our choreographer and the wonderful UNCSA student dancers performing. Lika comes tomorrow.
Say something?
Say something, I'm giving up on you.
This project came about through collaboration with my colleague at UNCSA, Britt Gonzalez. Britt and I met in our orientation meeting because we both joined UNCSA as professors just this year.
So glad we met! Yay! It's the universe brings people together.
And it was then that I approached her first and said, hey, I have this wonderful duo and this arrangement of The Rite of Spring that we do. Would you like to make something together? And it wasn't until 6 months later that Britt reached back out and said, there's a window open right now. We can do something for spring dance. And so she went on to create this gorgeous choreography.
And fire walks in.
Everyone was so incredibly welcoming. The Dean of School of Music, Saxton Rose, Andeline Taylor, and the choreographer, Britt Gonzalez. Everyone was just so kind and so welcoming. I really appreciated that. And I think that's what partly also made the experience so unique. There was a sense of healthy, wonderful community, and I really wanted to be a part of it. And for that split second, I really felt like I forgot that I'm not from there, and that I don't work there, and I don't go to school there, but it didn't matter. Everyone was just incredibly kind, and I really appreciated that. My experience of the first rehearsal was pretty stressful.
The first time that we got to rehearse together was the night before campus night.
I landed an hour before the downbeats.
The moment that she hits the runway, she's ready to go.
I was coming into a place I've never been, a majority of people I have never met, and all of a sudden we had to get on a stage and tell the story like we are best friends.
And it was during that first campus night that I got a little heartbroken. During the piece, we have to observe the dancers. There's no conductor, it's just us and them. And it is mostly my job to look at the dancers because that's how we're positioned. I have a good view of them and then Liana has a good view of me. And obviously, I try to look up as much as I can, but I also have to play my instrument. There was one crucial moment during which this wonderful dancer, Nick, comes out and he has to do a very elaborate set of twists and turns, some of which come from capoeira, as he spins on the floor and then spins in the air. I think it's not even a 360, it's 720. He turns several times. He lands on his knees looking really powerful. So it was during campus night that I looked up and I saw that Nick was mid-spin, but I didn't know what being mid-spin really meant because the choreography is so elaborate, at least to my eyes, that I had no idea how much spin he had left in him. And so, unfortunately, I cut him off and I could hear my heart go. But we fixed it. We had all of 10 minutes of rehearsal on the next day, and obviously Nick being a wonderful dancer and so professional, and Liana being the kind of chamber musician that I don't even need to look at her to cue her. We did this a couple of times so I could really observe what Nick does and to kind of learn at which point am I supposed to react, so we land together. We did. It eventually, on the premiere night, turned out well.
One of the challenges for me as a pianist was having to perform on a digital keyboard versus a real piano. This is not the first or the last experience. It's just something we just have to deal with sometimes due to the space or other constraints. And it is a really tough task because you're all of a sudden asked to create colors and the way that your acoustic instrument is reacting to what you're doing, transferring that to a digital little computer really that is not reacting to you, but it's just simply computing on what you're trying to do. It's like pressing on the button. So I remember being tense from my head to my toes. Of every single muscle was almost trying to control things so I don't press too hard or too soft, so that sound doesn't just all of a sudden disappear or comes out and jumps at you and scares the dancers. So I remember having to be just finding that perfect middle on a digital keyboard, where on a real piano, it's right there with you and you just kind of jump into it and create music. But overall, it worked out really well. And I think it's because really there was such a healthy sense of teamwork that really made it all just fine. And it was great.
Learning about how dancers experience music, how they set movement to music, how they count the rite of spring, which is very different from how we count. It's very interesting to learn what is considered to be musicality in dancers.
Dancers have different musicality.
Yeah.
Some are like right on top of it, or right before it, or right on it. I was always known to be very musical, but I trail the music.
There was definitely this sense of more of like a parental, more of this responsibility of make sure to take care of your dancers rather than just us, let's tell the story.
That I want it really syncopated with their feet. And last night they were like, da, bum,
To see two groups of dancers perform the same choreography, and to see two different people play the same role, but the way they bring out the nuances, the wonderful differences in character within their shared role was fascinating.
We performed it about 4 times officially, but really with the 2 dress rehearsals. We performed it 6 times, and normally we will perform once and then we move on to the next venue, and then there's always traveling involved in between this and that. But here it was so fantastic because we could just move into this venue and just be like, okay, this is where we're gonna live for a while and we're gonna perform this each time and it's gonna be great. And I really truly loved it.
And just professional, and the vibe here is amazing. If you'll adopt us,
positive,
we will wait for you forever.
Just what a pleasure and privilege.
Same for us.
Like such a privilege.
The way I felt at the end, I had mixed feelings. I felt incredibly proud how well it went, really happy that we delivered and it all went well. But there was also an incredible sadness as soon as it was over, as soon as the curtains came down the last time. And I'm actually getting emotional just talking about it. As soon as the curtains came down for the last time, it was very sad. Everyone was just giving each other hugs and congratulating. And by the way, they did this at the end of every performance. We performed 4 times plus the 2 dress rehearsals, 6 times each time. That's how kind and sweet everyone was.
In the end, it felt like we discovered something new, something that we want to do more of. There are no words to describe how beautiful it is to join forces with artists from other disciplines and create something together. Thinking about how Stravinsky created this beautiful music, and then we got to create an iteration of it that is very different as a duo, and then to think about how these dancers then came on top of that creation, and just looking at the staggering of the art, how we build this beautiful creative tower together, all on the shoulders of Stravinsky's wonderful creation, is really, really special.
I hope that it takes on its own life and that we perform more like this. Just getting the feedback from the audience, it was just so lovely. After every performance, that people really truly loved it, and we got some fantastic feedback from people saying how the Rite of Spring is their favorite piece, and they've been fans of it for their entire lives, and how this was their favorite version, and it really meant the world, and it's such a humbling experience. And really kudos to Ksenija for creating this arrangement, and I hope that we get to all play and dance together again, because it really was fun.